We're caught up. Last night in chat, I was asking if they'd started fighting yet. And today, the fights have begun. Wait, does he actually not know that flat taxes are regressive? If you're going to call flat taxes regressive, you're just retarded. Please get the fuck out of my community. Please leave. Please leave. Please leave. Please, 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 please leave. Please get the fuck out. I don't want you here. You're not the type of person I want to talk to. There are so many better communities for you. Please get the fuck out of here. Holy shit, just leave. Oh my God.
Right? Yeah. That's called serious.
Do we need to watch the initial like 20-minute chat or whatever, or?
His name was Friedrich.
Right? That's serious German.
Serious German.
That's serious. By Durkheim is serious German. But I want to thank you very much for...
Yes, but you can change the contribution formula without touching the payouts formula. Matt Bruneck has a video and at least one article on this. Why? This is my position, and it hasn't changed, and nobody's even come remotely close to moving me on this position. If you want to raise a ton of money for the government, there are 3 easy things you can do. The first is fund the IRS. The second is to just increase your tax brackets, okay? That means your ordinary income and your capital gains brackets. You can even just mainly do the top 2 or 3 if you want. And the third is to have a VAT tax, okay? These are 3 things that are going to increase your annual tax receipts on an order of hundreds of billions of dollars, all right? Anything else that's obsessing about, we gotta get rid of the pay, go, die stuff, or the people that are borrowing and spending, or the Social Security tax. No, fuck all that. Just focus on your huge things that don't require some convoluted scheme and reworking. Just focus. There are a couple of huge things right now that we can do to dramatically increase our tax receipts. Just do that. Okay, just full stop. And the moralizing, they were just like, go do that in denim stream or whatever. The Tax Foundation says there's like $600 billion in uncollected tax revenue each year. The IRS says that, literally.
First of all, I want to thank you for that. That's my pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you again. Fantastic. We'll put it up in a place of honor. Yeah. Maybe we can, let's see. We'll put it up there someplace. It's an honor to have you. As you know, the Chancellor just won a great election, very, very strong election. Very respected man. I can tell you, we've been on the phone many times talking about some of the problems of the world outside of Germany. And it's very sad what's going on. We both feel that way. What's going on with Russia, Ukraine, and other things we talk about, but Russia, Ukraine in particular. I'd like to see it end, and maybe it'll end, but we get some news, there'll be some fighting. Something happened a couple of days ago, and now they do a return, and here it goes. It's not good. He's unhappy about it, I'm unhappy about it. But I think eventually we're going to be successful in stopping the bloodshed. It's pure bloodshed. 6,000 young soldiers a week are being killed. You know that those numbers.
Yeah, we know the numbers.
They're staggering numbers. But Chancellor, I just want to congratulate you, and I want to welcome you to the Oval Office.
Thank you.
It's an Oval Office that's in very good shape. We like fixing things up and having them tippy-top like they have in Germany. Yep. They do that in Germany very much, and we do it here. We're having a very good run. I also had a great election. Won everything. Won the popular vote, all 7 swing states, which is a big deal. It's pretty unusual to do that. And we have a great mandate from the people, and part of our mandate is we're going to have a great relationship with your country. So I just want to thank you very much for being here, and if you'd like to say a few words.
Absolutely. So, thank you, first of all, Mr. President, for your kind invitation to come to Washington, D.C. I was in this building first time ever in 1982. I told you, when former President Ronald Reagan was in office. So I'm very happy to be here again and to offer our close cooperation with the United States of America. Yeah. We are having so much in common, our history. We owe the Americans a lot. We will never forget about that. And so with your German provenance, I think this is a very good basis for close cooperation between America and Germany. So again, thank you. Thank you for the hospitality, and thank you for having your guest house for a night. This is a great place. Great place. Many thanks for that. I really enjoyed it.
It's a wonderful place. It's a landmark also. And Blair House, it's a nice place to stay. Thank you very much for saying that. Would you have any questions for us?
Mr. President, on your new travel ban, why now? And if the Boulder attack is part of your reasoning, why not include Egypt on that list where the suspect is found?
Well, because Egypt has been a country that we deal with very closely. They have things under control. The countries that we have don't have things under control.
Wait, what was the travel ban that Trump did? What are your thoughts on the military failing audits multiple times? Do you think that might be an indication of overspending? No, the military failing an audit is a meme. It's a talking point that's just repeated by dishonest actors that are just trying to make it seem worse than it actually is. There was a new auditing process that was put in place that different government branches were trying to basically implement. The Pentagon wasn't expected to be able to pass that audit until, I believe, 2028, I think at the earliest. It was expected that they wouldn't have the process in place to do it. The fact that they're passing the audit doesn't mean, or they're not passing the audit doesn't mean that that money is unaccounted for, or it's just disappearing into a black hole. It just means that they haven't gotten their systems updated yet to be able to pass this new auditing process that they're working on implementing. That's why they've only talked about them when they say they failed in the audit for 10 years or whatever. That's when it was implemented, this new process. Or I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago. There's plenty of articles on this. So,
there's been a country that we do.
Total travel ban similar to 2017. Wait, what? Did I miss this? The latest bans are Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, the Congo Republic, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. What the fuck? Wait, is that... It happened during anything else? Wait, travel ban, USA. I'll get to the Elon and Trump tweets. We're covering this in sequential order. I've seen it. I don't know why the 500 millionth retard is typing this in chat. I've seen it. Holy shit. Restricting the entry of foreign nationals to protect the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public threats. After reviewing the report, I've determined to fully restrict and limit the entry of nationals of the following 12 countries: Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guinea, all those terrorists from Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. Destiny, read your chat, dummy. I do read my chat, you fucking retard. That's why I've seen you dipshit spamming the same fucking tweet 50 million fucking times. Go click and read it on your own. Click it and read it on your own. Sudan and Yemen. These restrictions distinguish between, but apply to both the entry of immigrants and non-immigrants. The entry of immigrants and non-immigrants. Does that mean if you've passed through the country you can't get back in? Or that just means you can't get a visa or immigrate, I guess. So maybe, I think. I've determined to partially restrict and limit the entry of nationals of the following 7 countries: Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. Why? Why are there? I feel like half the countries in Africa got targeted on this. What the fuck?
Deal with very closely. They have things under control. The countries that we have don't have things under control. And why now? I can say that it can't come soon enough, frankly. We want to keep bad people out of our country. The Biden administration allowed some horrendous people, and we're getting them out one by one. We're not stopping until we get them out. We have thousands of murderers. I even hate to say this in front of the chancellor. Of course, you have a little problem, too, with some of the people that were allowed into your country. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It shouldn't have happened. I told her it shouldn't have happened, what she did. But you have your own difficulty with that, and we do. And we're moving them out, and we're moving them out very strongly. But it can't come fast enough. We want to get them out. We want to get them out now. We don't want to have other bad people coming into our country. But using the word bad, I'm being nice. Okay,
the Democrats face a distraction. You put out on Truth Social a post regarding your conversation with President Xi.
Right.
Can you talk about whether or not you feel that trade talks, trade relations are back on track after appearing to be a little bit off track last week?
A little bit off track. It was only the complexity. It's pretty complex stuff. We had a very good conversation with President Xi a little while ago, just before your arrival. In fact, we just hung up and they said, "You're here." I said, "That's pretty good." Two great leaders of the world in a very short period of time.
Unless something has changed as of yesterday, okay? Remember, so far, there have been 0 trade deals signed since all this tariff stuff has happened. There have been 0 trade deals officially signed. If flat tax isn't regressive, then what is it? Progressive? Flat taxes on things like sales taxes are considered regressive because people who earn money tend to spend proportionately a higher amount of their money on consumables versus people that earn more money. So you would say that in a way, a flat tax on consumption is overall a regressive tax. But a flat tax on income, to call that regressive doesn't make any sense. At that point, then there's literally no such thing as a flat tax. Every flat tax is regressive. And arguably then even progressive taxes are regressive. Like that's a weird, stupid way. You're like moralizing it. Leave the moral terms. Go to other streams. Please go to other streams and use them there. Or go talk to the whatever, other people. We just want to describe shit accurately here, okay?
We had a very good talk, and we've straightened out any complexity. It's very complex stuff, and we straightened it out. The agreement was we're going to have Scott and Howard and Jameson will be going and meeting with their top people and continue it forward. But no, I think we have everything. I think we're in very good shape with China and the trade deal. We have a deal with China, as you know, but we were straightening out some of the points, having to do mostly with rare earth, magnets, and some other things.
So those reduced trade tariff rates, they remain in effect?
We have the deal. I mean, we've had a deal. We announced the deal. And we'll be, I guess you could say, I wouldn't even say finalizing it up, Scott. I would say we have a deal, and we're going to just make sure that everybody understands what the deal is. Okay.
Wasn't there a UK deal? No, they've just talked about having a deal. There isn't an actual signed deal yet.
Really good conversation. By the way, he invited me to China, and I invited him here. We're both accepted. So I'll be going there with the First Lady at a certain point, and he'll be coming here, hopefully, with the First Lady of China. Go ahead, please.
Did you talk about the Chinese students? Are you allowing them to come?
Oh, yeah, no, wait. Chinese students are coming. No problem. No problem. It's our honor to have them, frankly. We want to have foreign students, but we want them to be checked. You know, in the case of Harvard and Columbia and others, what we want to do is see their list. There's no problem with that. This is anybody outside of our country, international students, because when we see some of the people that we've been watching, we say, where do these people come from? How is that possible? No, we want to have foreign students come. We're very honored by it, but we want to see their list. Harvard didn't want to give us the list. They're going to be giving us the list now. I think they're starting to behave, actually, if you want to know the truth.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
On Russia, are you willing to put more pressure on Putin to end the war by imposing new sanctions on Russia and also on China?
Well, remember, I'm the one that ended Nord Stream 2. Going to a place called Germany, come to think of it. I'm sorry I did that. But I ended Nord Stream 2. Nobody else did. And then when Biden came in, he immediately approved it. That's the largest, essentially the largest pipeline in the world, going to Germany and other countries. And by the way, we have so much oil and gas, you will not be able to buy it all. I mean, you literally, we have so much. And I hope we're going to make that a part of our trade deal because we have more than anybody else. We have actually the most, by far, in the world, probably double what anyone else has. So we'll work on that. I'm sure that's something we'll discuss today.
Mr. President.
What do you expect from Germany and what do you expect from the Chancellor?
Well, first of all, I'm glad to meet because I've been dealing with the Chancellor, and he's a very good man to deal with. He's difficult, I would say. Can I say that? It's a positive.
Go ahead.
You wouldn't want me to say you're easy, right? No, he's a very great representative of Germany. I think all we want is just going to have a good relationship. The rest will just sort of follow very easily. We'll have a good trade deal. I mean, I guess that will be mostly determined by the European Union, but you're a very big part of that, so you'll be involved. But we'll end up hopefully with a trade deal or we'll do something. You know, we'll do the tariffs. I mean, I'm okay with the tariffs, or we make a deal with the trade, and I guess that's what we're discussing now.
Mr. President.
Please go ahead.
Mr. President,
No, okay.
Is Germany doing enough on defense? Is Germany doing enough on defense?
What?
Defense spending.
Is Germany doing enough on defense?
The Chancellor wants to.
Germany doing enough on
Chancellor wants to spend 3.5.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't discussed it very much. I know that you're spending more money on defense now, and quite a bit more money. That's a positive thing. I'm not sure that General MacArthur would have said it's positive. You know, he wouldn't like it, but I sort of think it's good. You understand what I mean by that? He made a statement: never let Germany rearm. And I said, I always think about that when he says, "Sir, we're spending more money on defense." I say, "Oh, is that a good thing or a bad thing?" I think it's a good thing. But you know, at least to a certain point. There'll be a point when I'll say, "Please don't arm anymore if you don't mind." We'll be watching him. Yeah, Biden. You said Biden.
Your predecessor dismissed your Autopen investigations and made all the decisions during the presidency. I'm curious your reaction to the dismissal.
Well, look, the Autopen, I think, is the big scandal. Outside of the rigged election of 2020, I think the biggest scandal of the last many years is the Autopen. And who's using it? I happen to think I know, okay, because I'm here. And I'm not a big Autopen person, fortunately. I'm glad. I'm very glad. It's an easy way out. But it's a very bad thing, very dangerous. You know, I sign important documents. Usually when they put documents in front of you, they're important. Even if you're signing ambassadorships, and I consider that important. I think it's inappropriate. You have somebody that's devoting 4 years of their life or more to being an ambassador. I think that person deserves to get a real signature, not an Autopen signature. And I can tell Autopen easily. I can look at it. Like two little pinholes from pulling the paper, right? You always see the pinholes. It's real easy to tell about Autopen. I think it's...
Okay, just so I can understand, because this fucking retard's now directed Pam Bondi to investigate the Autopen. Autopen just means what? That you're basically using a program to sign something? Like when I signed with like Adobe? Like, he's so obsessed with this talking point. Which fucking retard gave him this talking point?
It's very disrespectful to people when they get an Autopen signature. Outside, Autopen to me are used when thousands of letters come in from young people all over the country and you want to get them back. And you know, people use Autopens for that. To send a little signature at the bottom of a letter. We have thousands of them. We get thousands of letters a week, and it's not possible to do. I'd like to do it myself. You can't do it. To me, that's where Autopens start and stop. But I'm sure that he didn't know many of the things. Look, he was never for open borders. He was never for transgender for everybody. He was never for men playing in women's sports. I mean, he changed. I mean, all of these things that changed so radically. I don't think he had any idea that what was. Frankly, I said it during the debate, and I say it now. He didn't have much of an idea what was going on.
Mr. President,
he should be. I mean, essentially, whoever used the Autopen was the president. And that is wrong, it's illegal, it's so bad, and it's so disrespectful to our country.
Mr. President.
Mr. President, will you lead the troops in Germany? And if I may ask a question to the Chancellor to answer in German for the German audience, how was your first account of it?
The answer is yes, we'll talk about that.
How was your first?
How was your first account of it? A question to the Chancellor to answer in German for the German audience. How was your first account of it?
The answer is yes, we'll talk about that. But if they'd like to have them there, we have a lot of them, about 45,000.
How was your first encounter? Okay.
It's a lot of troops. It's a city when you think about it. That's good economic development. They're highly paid troops, and they spend a lot of money in Germany. But the relationship with Germany is very important. Yeah, we'll be doing that. No problem.
Can I say a few words in German?
Yes, please.
So, danke für die Frage. Wir sind hier im Weißen Haus und ich bedanke mich beim Präsidenten für den sehr
There's a mic live somewhere that's like connected to something that's like hitting the base. It's not grounded. Oh my, I've got a shock mount. You're getting a lot of shit like this. It's fucking annoying.
Empfang im Oval Office in diesem weltweit bekannten Raum. Ich freue mich sehr, hier zu sein. Und wir bereiten eine Vertiefung unserer Zusammenarbeit vor. Ich freue mich sehr darüber.
Mr. President,
You speak English because you speak such good English. Is it as good as your German, would you say? Do you feel more comfortable?
No, it's not my mother tongue, but I try to understand almost everything and to speak as good as I can.
Very good. You know, it's
President,
an achievement, actually.
Mr. President, can I follow up on
He's shocked that people are bilingual in the world? Hello? Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. The criticism that I've seen, I'm sure you've seen, regarding Elon Musk and your big, beautiful bill. What's your reaction to that? Do you think it in any way hurts passage in the Senate, which, of course, what is you're seeking?
Well, look, you know, I've always liked Elon, and I was very surprised. You saw the words he had for me, and he hasn't said anything about me that's bad. I'd rather have him criticize me than the bill, because the bill is incredible. It's the biggest cut in the history of our country. We've never cut. It's about 1.6 trillion in cuts. It's the biggest tax cut. You would say people's taxes will go way down, but it's the biggest tax cut in history. It's we are doing things in that bill that are unbelievable.
Wait, does he talk about, he does talk about Elon in this at some point, right? This is where the first public comments were made today?
And when you look at what we're doing for small businesses, for people, for middle-income people, all of the things that we're doing, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And, you know, Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate, and which was a lot of money for electric vehicles. We are doing things in that bill that are unbelievable. And when you look at what we're doing for small businesses, for people, for middle-income people, all of the things that we're doing, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And, you know, Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate, and which was a lot of money for electric vehicles. And, they're having a hard time, the electric vehicles. And they want us to pay billions of dollars in subsidy.
It's so funny that Hassan said yesterday, if you're watching crazy sex pests like Destiny, you're not going to get any good predictions or whatever. I don't know if it's just because I've been plugged in and watching more news over the past year, but I feel like I've made so many good calls or whatever. Remember when I was arguing all these fuckers over and over and over again, and now there's videos of all of it too, where I said, you know, it's funny that Elon comes in wanting to slash and cut the government when I feel like a lot of Elon's success is due to government contracts. You know, he calls these things corrupt, or he says it's wasted spending, but a lot of Tesla's success was built on a lot of those electric vehicle credits. They were a really big deal in making those affordable to a lot of Americans. Or contracts for SpaceX to, you know, shoot rockets into space is a really big deal. And now seeing this bill come out and then wanting to cut a lot of the subsidies, and Elon getting incredibly ass-pained because he's worried that it's going to threaten his business. I don't know, it's very funny to me. Just saying.
And, you know, Elon knew this from the beginning. He knew it for a long time ago. That's been, I would say, JD, that hasn't changed. That's been right from the beginning. Mr. Secretary, that hasn't changed at all, right from the beginning. But I know that it disturbed him. He wanted, and rightfully, you know, he recommended somebody from, that he, I guess, knew very well. I'm sure he respected him, but to run NASA. And I didn't think it was appropriate. And he happened to be a Democrat, like totally Democrat. And I say, you know, look, we won. We get certain privileges, and one of the privileges we don't have to appoint a Democrat. NASA is very important. We have great people. General Kane is going to be picking somebody with our. We'll be.
Wait, is this spite driven? Hold on.
And I didn't think it was appropriate, and he, I guess, knew very well. He wanted, and rightfully, you know, Mr. Secretary, that hasn't changed at all, right? I would say, JD, that hasn't changed. That's been right from the beginning. Mr. Secretary, that hasn't changed at all, right from the beginning. But I know that it disturbed him. He wanted, and rightfully, you know, he recommended somebody from that he, I guess, knew very well. I'm sure he respected him, but to run NASA, and I didn't think it was appropriate. And he happened to be a Democrat, like totally Democrat. And I say, you know, look, we won. We get certain privileges, and one of the privileges we don't have to appoint a Democrat. NASA is very important. We have great people. General Kane is going to be picking somebody with our. We'll be checking him out, seeing. But he wanted that person, a certain person, and we said no. And you know, I can understand why he's upset. Remember, he was here for a long time. You saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval desk. And even with the black eye, I said, you want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup. But he said, no, I don't think so, which is interesting and very nice. He wants to be who he is, so you could make that statement too, I guess.
Ooh, he stood behind the desk, but he can never be president. Somebody said Elon has been against EV subs for 10 years, though. And then someone else said, exactly. You'd think Destiny would know that. He was swallowing Musk cum in the middle of that statement, sorry. Is that actually true? I've never heard Elon being against EV subsidies. I'd be curious to see a story about that if that's true.
Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if it will anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best thing.
Unless he's talking about, unless he said like maybe in the past few years, like past like less than 3 or 4 years being against EV credits and getting rid of all of them, that would make sense because he already got to capitalize off of a fuck ton of EV credits. And then if they go away, it would hurt other people coming into the industry. That would make sense actually, I guess.
He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. We call it a great, big, beautiful bill because that's what it is. And again, biggest tax cuts in history, biggest economic development moves anywhere. We've never done anything like it. Business is spurred. And I don't know if you've seen the numbers, but the numbers came out. Even the CBO, which is run by Democrats, said that we're going to be doing, I'd like you to discuss it, the 2.8 trillion, that CBO. This is a group of people that are Democrats.
Sorry, hold on.
$7,500 tax credit. We don't need the $7,500 tax credit. I would say, honestly, I would just can this whole bill. Don't pass it. That's my recommendation.
What about the support though for the charging network? I mean, there are parts of this bill. And, no.
No, I mean, do we need support for gas stations? We don't. So there's no need for this for support for a charging network. I would delete it. Delete.
Okay. All right.
I'm literally saying get rid of all subsidies, but also for.
Okay, this makes sense. By 2000, when was this? Wait, 2021. I mean, in this point, right, when you start to have other vehicle makers entering the market, Tesla's already benefited significantly from these subsidies. It would make sense for her to be against them at this point, I guess, right? But
Democrats. They're very hostile to us. They just came out with phenomenal numbers, what it does. You want to mention that?
Yes, sir. So what we've seen is we keep hearing from the CBO that there's going to be a large deficit from the bill, which we disagree with, but using the CBO scoring, they came out and...
This is from 2015. Elon Musk says his companies don't need the estimated $4.9 billion they enjoy government support, but the money will help them move faster to transform the dirty business of energy. Received or support corporate saving can be high risk. Okay, sorry, no. There's a different type of comment, though. There's a difference between publicly coming out and saying to like get rid of subsidies or not support a bill versus saying like after you've gotten and been awarded subsidies, coming out and being like, oh, well, I mean, we don't need these, obviously. Like, it's not like we have to have these. Like, our company would work. Obviously, as a CEO, you're cheerleading your company. I think this is fundamentally different than talking about a bill that has yet to pass. I think these are different things.
And score the tariff revenue, we think it'll be the minimum.
Let me go back for a second.
Democrats. They're very hostile to us. They just came out with phenomenal numbers, what it does. You want to mention that?
Yes, sir. So what we've seen is we keep hearing from the CBO that there's going to be a large deficit from the bill, which we disagree with, but using the CBO scoring, they came out and scored the tariff revenue.
Isn't Tesla a very small part of Elon's wealth? Now, probably. Very small? No, but it's shrunk for considerably since Tesla's fallen off of its all-time highs, yeah?
We think it'll be the minimum of $2.8 trillion over the 10-year window, which actually puts the bill in surplus if you include the tariff revenue, which they won't do.
It gives you a tremendous surplus.
Actually puts the bill and score the tariff revenue. We think it'll be the minimum of $2.8 trillion over the 10-year window, which actually puts the bill in surplus if you include the tariff revenue, which they won't do.
This is a retarded point. I understand he has to be retarded. This is Bessent. Bessent, who is the Treasury Secretary, right? Or Lutnick. I keep mixing up their position in the cabinet. Bessent is the Secretary of the Treasury, yes. Lutnick is the Secretary of Commerce. Okay. Anytime you enact a tax, you cannot just say, we're going to make this revenue from the tax because the consumption will remain the same. When you add cost to things, the consumption shifts and changes. It's a fundamental rule of adding cost to anything. So this idea that like we import $100 worth of things, and then we're going to add a 10% tax to everything. So next year we're going to make $10 is not true. If you're going to put a tax to 10%, then demand is probably going to shift accordingly, and people are going to try to avoid those new costs unless there's literally no possible other way to buy the product. And these guys, remember, want you to buy domestically, which necessarily means less income from imports. So this saying, like trying to do this thing is like, oh no, well, we're going to assume that we're going to make the exact same amount of money every single year because imports won't change. It won't be sensitive to, price change. It's just stupid, but.
It gives you a tremendous surplus, but we're not allowed to use that. For some reason, they say scoring. Nobody knows what scoring means. Maybe a couple of people, but nobody. Somebody sits in the background, they say, well, we're not going to allow that. They're not allowing other things that we have that are tremendously profitable for our country. But if you saw the other day, CNBC, they came out with numbers, and the people on the show, very good people, I've watched them for a long time, they couldn't believe the numbers, how good they are. The numbers were incredible. And that was personal income and also very low inflation. We have very low inflation. We're down to 2% now, and maybe even lower than that. And when I took it over, it was a mess. Remember, we had the worst inflation probably in the history of our country. They say 48 years, but let's say that's...
There are so many things that you have to worry about when it comes to running the economy and everything. You can't just do this retarded, like a dog fixating with inflation. There's other things to worry about when it comes to the economy. Hello?
I think it's worse than that. So we had the worst inflation in the history of our country under the Biden administration. Now we're down to a beautiful number, 2%. You'd actually like to keep it there. Better than 0 is 2%. It's going down maybe to 1, and 1% is like perfect. That's perfect. You don't want to have 0 for certain reasons that nobody is very interested to listen to. But we have almost perfect inflation. Grocery prices are down. Everything. Remember eggs? Eggs. We weren't going to buy another egg for the next 20 years. They were so expensive, right? Remember? You guys all hit me about eggs. Eggs have come down 400%. Everybody has eggs now. They're having eggs for breakfast again. But if you look at gasoline, very important. I think always the most important because it's the energy is the biggest factor. That's what happened. He screwed up our energy policy, and everything went up because energy went up. But now energy is way down, and they have states where you're at $1.98 a gallon for gasoline. So the costs have come way down. And one of the things I ran on was that. I ran on the border. We have the best border in the history of our country, 99.99%. It was last week, 3 people came in, 2 of them for medical reasons. We let them in because one of them had a heart attack. I think it was a nice thing to do, and one of them had something else. So we've never had, I had very good numbers for 4 years, but we really topped it. And I want to thank Christie and Tom Homan. They've done a fantastic job. But nobody mentions that anymore. Remember,
Are there any more comments about Elon in the last 22 minutes of this, or is that kind of it?
a few months ago, the border was a total disaster. People were coming in by the hundreds of thousands of people a day, a week, a month. I mean, we had a month, 2 million people came in 1 month. The border was being overrun, and a lot of bad people, criminals, murderers, drug dealers. We had some of the worst people in the world coming in from all over the world.
Steelman, his 400% down comment. Well, I mean, you guys are out of touch, but if you actually go to the grocery store, it used to be that a carton of eggs would be I think like $10. But now when you go to the store, they just give you $30 for every carton of eggs you get.
It's totally closed. And you know what? People are coming into our country, but they're coming in legally. So we've done a great job. Elon knew that. Elon endorsed me very strongly. He actually went up and campaigned for me. I think I would have won. Susie would say I would have won Pennsylvania easily anyway, even if the governor ran, the real governor, not the governor from Minnesota, he's a sick puppy, that guy. That poor guy, I feel sorry for him. But they made a bad choice with him. But if you pick Shapiro or anybody else, I spoke to him recently about his house being set on fire, which was terrible. But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden, he had
Thoughts on Greta's aid flotilla to Gaza? What if Israel sinks it? Also, never heard your take on foreign journalists in Israel. Should they be allowed? Foreign journalists are allowed in Israel. Sure, go for it. All the flotillas to Gaza are cringe and lame, and I would never support anybody doing any of that. In the past, they've been used as fronts for terrorist groups before. It's just stupid to do it, and you're breaking so many international and national. It's just a stupid, dumb, stupid idea. It's the 2025 equivalent of the Lauren Southern Europa, whatever the fuck, migrant shooting shit in the off of Italy in the Mediterranean. It's the exact same thing as that. It's fucking stupid.
a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars, and it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, it became a little bit different, and I can understand that. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody, and he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very, it's very fresh on tape, he said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next.
Why you lie, bro? Foreign journalists aren't allowed in Gaza. They're allowed in Israel proper. That's literally what I said. Bye.
But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Mr. President, I just want to clarify, did he raise any of these concerns with you privately before he raised them publicly? And this is the guy you put in charge of cutting spending. Should people not take him seriously about spending? Now you're saying this is all sour grapes?
No, he worked hard, and he did a good job. And I'll be honest, I think he misses the place. I think he got out there, and all of a sudden he wasn't in this beautiful Oval Office, and he's got nice offices too, but there's something about this one I was telling the chat.
Remember, one of the first things that people theorized, and I think it's probably true, is that Trump was threatened by Elon Musk because people were looking at the situation like Elon Musk was the real president, you know? And Trump was like, well, here I am. And I think Trump even made a comment like 3 months ago, like, well, you know, just so you guys know, Elon can't actually run for president, okay? He can't run for president, guys. And now that Elon is gone, he's like, just, yeah. So, you know, he misses the Oval Office because this is some real clout. We're on some real ass clout here, okay? Elon is fucking full of shit because he's mad. He's ass pain that he's not in our big, beautiful office anymore. According to whatever this is, average price, eggs grade A large. Eggs are still more expensive than when Trump came into office. Unless there's new numbers for May that maybe show it being lower. Oh my God. These fucking sounds.
Chancellor, this is where it is. People come in here, even from Germany. They come in and they walk into the Oval Office, and it's just a special place. It's, you know, World War I, it started and it ended here, and World War II, and so many other things. Everything big comes right from this beautiful space. It's now much more beautiful than it was 6 months ago. A lot of good things are happening in this room, and I'll tell you, it's not the first. People leave my administration, and they love us, and then at some point they miss it so badly, and some of them embrace it, and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it, but we have it with others too. They leave, and they wake up in the morning, and the glamour's gone, the whole world is different, and they become hostile. I don't know what it is. Someday you'll write a book about it, you'll let us know.
Yeah. Mr. President, speaking of ending wars in school, you were very critical of Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. What kind of play is he playing with respect to what I
Well, look, he got hit. He's been doing hitting, so I understand it, but he got hit hard. And I don't think he's playing games. I think I've always said he wanted the whole thing. I thought he wanted the entire...
You were very critical of Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. What kind of play is he playing with respect to what I
Well, look, he got hit. He's been doing hitting, so I understand it. But
he's talking about Putin now, right?
Got hit hard.
Oh, poor Lex Friedman. His two daddies are fighting. This is probably a really rough time for him. Send your thoughts and prayers.
And I don't think he's playing games. I think I've always said he wanted the whole thing. I thought he wanted the entire, everything having to do with Ukraine. That's something that would have never happened if I were president. The election was rigged. I didn't get to be president, but I got to be president now. And I think it's a much more important presidency. Other than a couple of things like that, the war would have never happened. The war with Ukraine, with Putin, would have never happened, ever, not even a chance. And it didn't happen for 4 years. And it wasn't thought of. I used to talk to him about Ukraine a lot. It was the apple of his eye, but he would have never done what he did. And I think mistakes were made by him, but I think mistakes were made by other people. The president should have never allowed that war. Biden should have never allowed that war to happen. If you had the right guy in here, that war would have never happened. Israel would have never happened with Hamas. That would have never happened. The attack on Israel would have never happened because Iran was broke. They had no money. They had no money to give to Hamas or Hezbollah or anybody else. And all of that would have never happened. Inflation wouldn't have happened. It was caused mostly by energy.
Literally every single world problem would have been fixed by Trump. The worldwide inflation would have just never happened.
And the Biden administration messed up my great energy policy. We were down into the 190 a gallon. And it would have never happened. It was caused by energy and their bad spending on the Green New Scam and other things that they spent on. But all of those things would have never happened. But maybe most importantly, the war, Chancellor, with Russia would never have happened with Ukraine. It was something that would have, I dealt with Putin a lot. There was no chance, zero. And a lot of people say, how do you know? For 4 years it didn't happen.
Even though there were 4 years worth of war when he was in office the first time, and even though the war is ongoing and escalating, arguably, now, somehow, even though he never says how he would have actually stopped it, trust me, okay? It wouldn't have happened.
There was never a chance of it happening. And he understood the consequences. Now, it's a shame. I mean, when you see all of those people, they came out with a report today that millions of people have died, much more than people thought. And I've been saying that for a long time. The amount of death in that war is far greater than the news has been reporting, or than, frankly, that either side has been reporting. It's a very sad thing. And I can tell you, just speaking for the Chancellor, because we speak about it, he feels the same way. He wants to see it ended. Would you like to say something?
Absolutely. And I'm here, Mr. President, to talk with you later on how we could contribute to that.
God, this mic is so annoying. The rustling on this. Who do you want to win this fight for publicity, Musk or Trump? Whoever wins, or whoever wins, we win. It doesn't matter. The fact that they're splitting is good for us. Because now all of your gamer bro dipshits and all of your tech sycophants and your Silicon Valley types and your crypto retards, the only reason they all bought onto Trump's bullshit was because of Elon Musk. And with Elon gone, a lot of those people are going to start to change their tune a lot.
We all are looking for measures and for instruments to bring this terrible war to an end. And may I remind you that we are having June 6th tomorrow. This is DDay Anniversary, when the Americans once ended a war in Europe. And I think this is in your hand in specific, in ours.
That was not a pleasant day for you?
No, that was not a pleasant day.
This was not a great day.
In the long run, Mr. President, this was the liberation of my country from Nazi.
Why would you say? Why would you say that? Are you okay? Oh my God. How do you have no self-awareness if you're a conservative? Like watching him with the South African president and with Zelensky, it's actually just like embarrassing.
June 6th tomorrow. This is D-Day Anniversary, when the Americans once...
I missed it. What did he say? They're talking about the D-Day Anniversary. D-Day, I think, is the day we dropped the second bomb on Hiroshima or Nagasaki. And his, I think he's got like a dad or mom or whatever that's Japanese. And so he's like, well, that was a really bad day for you, right? Because his parents died. I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. This is the Chancellor of Germany. And D-Day, I think, was the day we... American troops arrived on the beaches, and he's like, oh, that was a bad day for you, right? And it's like, bro, he's not a fucking Nazi. What do you mean it was a bad day for you? What?
Ended the war in Europe. And I think this is in your hand in specific, in ours.
That was not a pleasant day for you?
No, that was...
Why would you, what do you mean when you say that? Why would you say that? Not just Americans, the Allies landed in Normandy? Actually, that's probably true. I don't know what the composition of all the troops were actually.
Was not a pleasant.
This was not a great
in
day.
the long run, Mr. President, this was the liberation of my country from Nazi dictatorship.
That's true. That's true.
And we know what we owe you. But this is the reason why I'm saying that America is, again, in a very strong position to do something on this war and ending this war. So let's talk about what we can do jointly, and we are ready to do what...
Apparently 1/3 of troops were British and Canadian.
We can, and you know that we gave support to Ukraine, and that we are looking for more pressure on Russia. The European Union did, and we should talk about that.
We will talk about it. Yeah. You know, it's good timing. The numbers for our country are through the roof, the economic numbers, because of the election and because of tariffs and other things, a lot of things. But we've had some of the best numbers we've ever had. They were reported yesterday, the day before, and even today. The country's doing really well. I think that one of the things you'd be most interested in is that 6 months ago, we were having a hard time getting anybody to join our military. I mean, they just couldn't do it. The numbers were record low. We couldn't get people to join the military. It wasn't me. It was before I got there, the past administration. But 6 months ago, a year ago, the numbers were record low. You couldn't get them to join. That included the police. And you couldn't get them to join. Now, we just hit the highest number in the history of our country, we think, but very close, but the highest in the history of our country, recruitment. Joining the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, police forces all over the country.
What did you do for that? What was the
spirit? They love our country again. You're going to do the same thing. Spirit.
God,
we have great spirit is back in our country, and it's very simple. You know, it was only, Susie, 6 months ago, right? That you got reports. You're the one that released them that you couldn't get anybody to join the military, and now we're stopped. Every service now is packed. And we have waiting lists of people trying to get in, as good as we've ever had in the history of our country. So that's an honor. That's a great honor.
Mr. President, on the board.
You've asked. You've had enough. Go ahead.
Mr. President, so would you consider to put more sanctions on Russia? Because this discussion is going on now for weeks and months, and you tweeted about it once, but then nothing happens. So
when I see the moment when we're not going to make a deal, when this thing won't stop,
is there a deadline?
At that moment, yeah, it's in my brain, the deadline. When I see the moment where it's not going to stop, and I'm sure you're going to do the same thing, will be very, very, very tough. And it could be on both countries, to be honest. You know, it takes two to tango. But we're going to be very tough. Whether it's Russia or anybody else, we're going to be very tough. That's a bloodbath that's going on over there. And when
5,000. Say 5,000. I'm about to come. Please say 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. And then say Ukrainians and Russians. I don't know if he still has that one, but he has the 5,000 number, please.
The moment where I say, well, they're going to just keep fighting. I gave the analogy yesterday when I spoke to President Putin. I had a 2-hour and 15-minute call with him. Sometimes, and this is me speaking maybe in a negative sense, but sometimes you see two young children fighting like crazy. They hate each other and they're fighting in a park. And you try and pull them apart. They don't want to be pulled. Sometimes you're better off letting them fight for a while and then pulling them apart. And I gave that analogy to Putin yesterday. I said, President, maybe you're going to have to keep fighting and suffering a lot because both sides are suffering before you pull them apart, before they're able to be pulled apart. But it's a pretty known analogy. You have two kids, they fight. Sometimes you let them fight for a little while. You see it in hockey. You see it in sports. The referees let them go for a couple of seconds, let them go for a little while before you pull them apart. And maybe, and I said it, and maybe that's a negative because we're saying go, but a lot of bad blood. There's some bad blood between the two. I have to deal with it, and the Chancellor has to deal with it. It's incredible. The level of, there's a great hatred between those two men, but between the warring parties. Great hatred.
What make you say and believe apparently that there's no immediate peace?
What?
That there's no immediate peace. Well,
I can't. I'd love to have immediate if I could. But we don't have immediate. You know, it's like I'd love to have that. I'd like it to start. Right now, we would leave a room if we knew the work of that. We'd say, forget about you guys. Forget about trade, right? Yeah. We'd say, let's go settle it. There's some additional fighting that's going to go on. You know, he attacked, and they attacked pretty harshly. They went deep into Russia, and he actually told me. I mean, I made it very clear. He said, have no choice but to attack based on that. And it's probably not going to be pretty. I don't like it. I said, don't do it. You shouldn't do it. You should stop it. But again, there's a lot of hatred. And, I'm very proud of the fact that with India and Pakistan, I was able to stop that. And those are nuclear.
He stopped all of that. World War III, by the way.
Powers. And that was getting close to being out of hand. And I spoke to some very talented people on both sides, very good people on both sides. And I said, we're dealing with you on trade, Pakistan and India.
Fuck, sorry. I'll do this as a really minor thing. Sorry. Somebody else posted a thing for Normandy. Apparently it was of the 160,000 troops that landed, 73,000 were American, 83,115 British and Canadian forces who landed on Gold, Juno, and Sword beaches. So over half were British and Canadian forces. I see that this is from obamawhitehouse.archives.gov. One thing that is incredibly sad and disgusting, when you're going through a lot of the monuments in DC, it is kind of cool that you had presidents that will designate like, hey, there's some part of our history that we should show honor to. And so I'm going to designate, like some memorial or something to be constructed and built to honor that particular thing. Because I think am I making this up? I think George Bush did the Korean one. Am I making this up? Maybe it wasn't Bush. Which one did George Bush do? Whatever. Bush did one of them. That's all I know. And then I see this Obama fact sheet on the Normandy stuff. It's just, I'm thinking in terms of if President Trump were to designate anything, it would literally just be to himself. He has absolutely no care or respect whatsoever for any part of this country or the history of this country. He's the most narcissistic fucking evil person has been U.S. president in my lifetime, at least easily. It's so crazy. Yeah, if he were to do a memorial, it would literally be like a January 6th memorial to the protesters with a giant statue of Ashley Babbitt and him hugging at the top of a fucking mountain or whatever.
Yeah, right now, I said, we're not going to deal with you in trade if you're going to go shooting each other and whipping out nuclear weapons that maybe even affect us, because that nuclear dust blows across oceans very quickly. It affects us. And I said, if you're going to do that, we're not going to do any trade deals. And you know what? I got that war stopped. Now, I hope we don't go back and we find out that they signed it, but I don't think they will. They were both good. They were well represented. I want to congratulate both countries because, as you know, the leader of India, who's a great guy, was here a few weeks ago. We had some great talks. We're doing a trade deal. And Pakistan, likewise. They have very, very strong leadership. Some people won't like when I say that, but, it is what it is. And they stopped that war. Now, am I going to get credit? I'm not going to get credit for anything. They don't give me credit for anything. But nobody else could have done it. I stopped it. I was very proud of that. I wish we could do the same thing with Ukraine and Russia. And at some point it'll happen. I believe that. And if it doesn't happen, or if I see somebody's out of line, if Russia's out of line, you'll be amazed how tough. Remember this. They like to say that I'm friends with Russia. I'm not friends with anybody. I'm friends with you. I'm not friends with that. I want the right thing to happen for our country, for everybody, for humanity. But I'm the one that stopped the pipeline. It's called Nord Stream 2. Until I came along, nobody ever heard, not one person in this room ever heard of Nord Stream 2. You probably did because it went to Germany. He's the only one that heard.
This was a mistake.
But I stopped it. Yeah, and you've said that openly. Yeah. It was a mistake and I used to go with Angela. I'd say, well, wait a minute. We're spending all this money to defend you.
Oh, cute. Okay, never mind. It was the World War II memorial. Apparently that opened under George W. Bush. Dedicated by President George W. Bush on May 29, 2004. This is a cute memorial. I think each of these pillars represents a state or a territory. It'll say the name on it or whatever, but yeah, just the idea of Trump doing anything like that is inconceivable.
Against Russia, and then you're giving Russia billions of dollars a month. What kind of a deal is that? But you said it better than anybody else. I appreciate it. But I'm the one that stopped it. And that was the biggest economic development job, if you want to call it that, in the history. Think of it, in the history of Russia. That was it's the biggest pipeline in the world. Going to go all over Europe, not only to Germany. They're Germany, but then they were branching off all over to Europe. Nobody ever heard of, not one person of you heard of it. And I stopped it. It was
nobody had heard of Nord Stream 2, which wasn't even active, by the way. Nobody had even heard of this, by the way. Nobody even knew anything about it. Trump was the first guy. Trump came into office, he was like, hold on, let's open a map. What's this over here? And people were like, we don't know. Do you want us to look into it, sir? He's like, yes. And it's like, it's called Nord Stream 2. Oh my God.
Dead. And then they say, I'm friends with Putin. I got along with him. He respected me, I respected him. It would have never happened. But I stopped Nord Stream 2. When Biden came in, almost the first week, he approved it. He let it be built. And then they say that I wasn't tough on Russia. Putin said to me, you're not tough on Russia. You stopped the biggest, most important job we've ever done. You stopped it. And Biden came in and he let it be built. And
one of the reasons why I know, there are some heuristics that I know that Trump is a bad businessman and bad when it comes to negotiations in general is he's very quick to quote people that he's in active negotiations against that are complimenting him as a reason for why he's such a great negotiator. It's like, this guy that I'm negotiating with, he tells me that I'm actually one of the most amazing negotiators. He says I'm very tough to negotiate with. The guy that I'm currently in talks with publicly, by the way, that I'm talking to you now publicly, by the way, just letting you know. It's like, what a lack of self-awareness. How fucking stupid do you have to be to say something like that? Like, yeah, no shit.
I'll tell you what, I'll never forget the day I had it totally stopped. They weren't building, they gave up on it. They weren't able to. And then Biden came in and he let him build. I couldn't believe it. Okay, one or two questions more, please. Any questions? Any questions for the chancellor? Go ahead, for the chancellor. I like his answers much better.
Would you continue to support Ukraine?
Yeah, I'm with Ukraine. We just signed a big deal on rare earth with Ukraine. And I want to, you know what, I'm for stopping killing, really. That's what I'm for. Again, a war that would have never started, should have never started. I want to see the killing stop.
The funny thing is, I said this before, that if Ukraine actually cared about its people and it wanted to win the war, it would just create a bunch of AI videos of Putin making fun of Trump's dick or whatever. And then Trump would be like, fuck this guy. I bet Trump was fucking cheering when those drones hit the airports because he's like, this fucking Putin guy is not doing shit. He's fucking making me look like a dipshit. He's, he's upped his fucking attacks when he told me he would stop. And I bet when that airport blew up, I bet Trump was like, oh, that motherfucker. He's like Ukraine supporter number one. He probably had the hat and the one finger glove and everything.
We spent $350 billion, much more than Europe, but Europe spent a lot also. And they spent way over $100 billion. Yeah. So you're talking about close to
It got up to $300 billion. 350? We're spending more every single day. He talks, we've spent more and more money. Okay.
$500 billion went into that whole thing. And it's not even the money. And I know with you too, it's a lot of money. But it's the death that's being caused. We went to the Middle East. I went last week to the Middle East. We took in $5.1 trillion. That's many, many times. That's 30, 40 times, 50 times more than what we're talking about. It's think of that, $5.1 trillion of investment with one trip that lasted 4 days. So it's not the money. It's a little bit of money, but not the money, the big thing. The big thing is the death. The death of, and really the decimation. You've lost a whole culture. You know, Ukraine had the most beautiful turrets. They call them turrets. Little towers, beautiful towers. The most beautiful in the world. They're all now laying on this side, blown to smithereens. It'll never happen again. They've taken away the culture of a country. They've taken away the heritage of a country. It's a terrible thing. But most importantly, again, is the death. 5,000 plus people a week, soldiers, are being killed. He doesn't want that, and I don't want that. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, do you support the Graham bill putting high tariffs?
I have not looked at it, but they'll be guided by me. That's the way it's supposed to be. They're going to be guided by me. No, I haven't looked at it. It's a bill on sanctions, etc. I'm a very quick study. At the right time, I'll do what I want to do. But it could very well be okay. I'll have to see. But they're waiting for me to decide on what to do. And I'll know maybe very soon. It's a harsh bill. Yeah, very harsh.
I would like to ask one, please.
Do you agree with the analogy the President made on the war between Russia and Ukraine as being a fight between two kids? Is that how you feel that as well? And what do you actually want the US President to do in this?
Well, I think we both agree on this war and how terrible this war is going on. And we are both looking for ways to stop it very soon. And I told the President before we came in that he is the key person in the world who can really do that now by putting pressure on Russia.
Okay.
And we will have this debate later on again, how we can proceed jointly between the Europeans and the Americans. And I think we are having the duty to do something on that now to stop it after 3.5 years, which is really terrible.
You missed him saying 5,000 deaths? Oh fuck, I have my headphones off. My speaker's wrong. Did he say the 5,000 deaths? I cummed.
Get the kids, the kids which were kidnapped from Ukraine to Russia. This is all terrible. And so we are talking about instruments, measures, what we can do. And my personal view is clear on that. We are on the side of Ukraine, and we are trying to get them stronger and stronger just to make Putin stop this war. And this is our problem.
We get satellite pictures of the warfield, and you don't even like to look at them, right?
It's terrible.
So
it's really
bodies, arms, heads, legs all over the place. You've never seen anything like it. It's so ridiculous.
And this is only by Russian weapons against Ukraine. This had never happened with Ukraine weapons against Russia. Never. Ukraine is only targeting military targets, not civilians, not private, not energy infrastructure. So this is the difference, and that's the reason why we are trying to do more on Russia, how to stop this war.
Well, in this case, I'm talking about the battlefield, the soldiers on soldiers. But you could also say that too with the cities.
Yep.
The cities are being hit also. So it's a terrible, terrible thing, right? Somebody said Autopen.
It's just crazy how temporary, like how transient his feelings are about whatever side. Like he legitimately hates fucking Russia right now. He really truly does. He's super ass pained about Putin making him look like a fucking fool. Somebody linked this. I was more right than I thought. Trump privately praises Ukraine's drone strike on Russian bombers as badass, Axios reports. That's pretty funny. Trump privately described Ukraine's drone strike on Russian strategic bombers as strong and badass, Axios reported June 5th, citing sources familiar with his reaction. Causing an estimated, it was $7 billion in damage. One of Trump's advisors reportedly likened the situation to a small but aggressive force managing to hurt a more powerful opponent, using a metaphor about a chihuahua attacking a much bigger dog.
I was just curious because I think it's the biggest scandal maybe in the last 100 years in this country. So when I hear that word, I think it has to be discussed because the fake news will try and hide it, and we can't do that.
Caller right now, what side of the Elon versus Trump beef will the Joe Rogan right be on? 100 billion% it'll be the Elon side eventually. You might be Trump for a little bit, but it'll probably gravitate towards the Elon side. It might go Elon immediately. Elon will probably be around and relevant for longer than Trump will be.
Evidence that anything specific was signed without President Biden's knowledge or by other people in the administration acting illegally?
Well, I don't think Biden would know whether or not he signed it.
I'm asking if you've uncovered any of that information.
No, but I've uncovered, the human mind. I was in a debate with the human mind, and I didn't think he knew what the hell he was doing. So, it's just one of those things, one of those problems. We can't ever allow that to happen to our country. The danger our country was in, and I know some of the people that worked with him, radical left, horrible people. And I could give you the name of some of the people that use the Autopen, because I'm here, and I ask questions about people that were here also. There are a lot of people that were here when that happened, and they're here right now, and they'll answer your question very accurately. But I know some of the people that use that Autopen, and those are not the people that had the same ideology as Joe Biden. These were radical left lunatics that used that, and they didn't get elected. He didn't get elected either, actually. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you for asking.
Neither did Elon. Yeah, Biden faked his life. Okay, dude. All right. Now we have... Now, finally. You guys are fucking so excited for. I'm going to use the restroom real quick. Now we have the... What do you do when shit is not going your way? You go on Twitter and you post through it. You always post through it. I'm gonna get my food and use the restroom. Hold on one sec. All right. We got a lot of memes. Killer Keemstar has kept track of it for us, really? President Trump versus Elon Musk, a timeline of events. Elon Musk time as a government employee concludes 5/28/25, May 28th. About a week ago? As my scheduled time as a special government employee comes to an end, I would like to thank President real Donald Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. The Doge mission will only strengthen over time as it becomes a way of life throughout the government. Yesterday. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did you did wrong. You know it. He says. Ketamine stare. Ooh, Donald Trump. Felon stare. The drug addict versus the campaign funds embezzler.
But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania.
We watched this hearing, or not hearing, the press conference. Is that what you call these? Trump responds to Elon Musk's criticism of the bill, says Elon is upset that the electric vehicle mandate is being cut. He's a druggie too, no? Isn't he an amphetamine freak? Trump? I don't think so. The way Trump talks about drugs, Trump legitimately seems like one of those guys who... Everybody's got a friend in their life where you're like, oh bro, we should go like drinking or like do some fucking fun shit or whatever. And they're like, actually, I don't actually ever like to do anything that changes my state of mind. I like to be sober because if I don't want to change my mind with a chemical ever. He's like, Trump legitimately comes off as one of those guys. No offense to those people. Elon responded to Trump's interview denying that he saw the bill ahead of time. Trump, so Elon says, false, this bill was never shown to me, even once, and was passed in the dead of night so fast that almost no one in Congress could even read it. Elon, in a string of tweets, starts sharing Trump's old tweets and statements. Where is this guy today? We could use the balanced budget amendment. Politicians don't have the will to cut spending. I cannot believe the Republicans are extending the debt ceiling. I'm a Republican and I am embarrassed. We need a balanced budget amendment because Congress has no fiscal discipline. Ooh. Elon went as far as saying Trump would have lost the election. Would have? Oof, you mean would have. Yikes. Lost the election without him. Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Ooh, Dems would control the House and Republicans be in a 51-49 in the Senate. Such ingratitude, ungratefulness. Oh my God. Elon goes on to saying he supports EV/solar incentive cuts, something which Trump said he was upset about. Elon then calls for the reconciliation bill to be killed in the Senate. Keep the EV/solar incentives cuts in the bill, but also cut all the crazy spending increases in the big ugly bill. Oh, the big ugly bill from to bub, so that America doesn't go bankrupt. Elon then calls for the reconciliation bill to be killed in the Senate. Elon is about to very quickly realize he has absolutely no political sway whatsoever. Absolutely none, but hold on. Elon Musk asks, it's time for a new political party in America. Cringe. He's never doing this, but okay. Remember when Elon did the vote on his platform to ask if he should step down as the CEO of Tesla? Or is it the CEO of X? I forget. I think it was of Tesla, wasn't it? Or maybe it was X. I don't remember. It was X. Or Twitter at the time, maybe. Trump suggests that Elon has Trump derangement syndrome.
They leave.
Oh, yeah, this thing. Trump then drops multiple tweets saying Elon Musk went crazy. Trump has been on Truth Social. Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. Ooh, does that mean like SpaceX and stuff too? Or I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. No conservative will admit that that's literally Trump talking about how openly corrupt he is, and he's surprised people aren't as corrupt as him. I'm surprised Biden didn't personally attack Elon Musk like I will once he becomes an enemy. Funny. Elon Musk, time to drop the really big truth bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Oh, and Elon comes hard hitting with he's always his big hitter is to call the person a pedophile. He loves that one. So much so that he must fuck children, because who the fuck else always has their go-to as a pedophile. Have a nice day. Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. The real meme here is that, so does this mean that you knew that like Donald Trump was involved with Epstein the whole time, but you just didn't say anything until it was politically expedient for you to do so? I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago. This is one of the greatest bills ever presented to Congress. It's like a fucking continuing resolution, isn't it? It's not even a real budget yet, is it? Why are you so cringe? It's a record cut in expenses. What? It's literally an increase in the deficit. $1.6 trillion from what? And the biggest tax cut ever given. If this bill doesn't pass, there will be a 68% tax increase and things far worse than that. It didn't create this mess. I'm just here to fix it. This puts our country on a path of greatness. Make America great again. In light of the president's statement about cancellation of my government contract, SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately. He's not doing that. He's getting emotional. That's kind of funny, though. Trump's new foreign policy by tomorrow morning.
Alliance shoot to kill the mother, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa. Attention, kichi, kichi.
We have somebody trying to come in and solve the problem. As we all know, there's only one way to truly fix this problem, and that's with peace and love. From a Lex Friedman podcast. We've got Ye coming out, giving his wonderful political takes. Bros, please no. Hug emoji. We love you both so much. Oh. Oh, as I've said, Asmund Slop and all the gamer bros and all the Silicon Valley losers will all come out and defend Elon. Ain't nobody want a fat retarded bill, LOL. Matt Gaetz, nobody likes or cares about him anymore. I'm fully with Ye on this. We've got input from random Twitter user Peter Twinklage. Those white South Africans are getting sent to El Salvador. The CIA getting ordered to assassinate Elon after dealing with Doge for months.
Yes! Come on!
Jesus. Elon at the next Tesla meeting, but ICE shows up.
Georgie, what button? Rest that man, he's out of control. Where's the button?
Good luck, ladies.
Guards! Guards! Hands up or I'll shoot you in the fucking face. Guards!
Oh, shit.
Guards! The desk. Press the button, Georgie. What button?
Jesus.
Okay.
Merc clip was this.
Who the fuck's Ren Lux?